kind introduction. And it's my pleasure, guys, to be speaking to all of you today as part of eTalks. Wonderful that you have now made to this course and are now budding entrepreneurs. You're the young leaders of tomorrow who the country, the world has great hopes pinned on. When I was really thinking about what I should speak to you all when I meet all of you, so young, vibrant, intelligent, I thought there was possibly no better topic than sensitizing you all, the leaders of tomorrow and the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, about the blatant gender gaps that exist in the world around us, right? And it is my earnest request to all of you that you must take up many of these problems and solve these yourself through the ventures you do, through the companies you work with, through the big conglomerates that you will create in the future. And believe me, all of these gender biases are not deeply rooted in patriarchy or are all very conscious biases, right? I'm going to leave all the conscious biases aside because there's so much you already know about, so much you are already aware about, right? What I really want to talk to you about are the unconscious biases that genders face. Have you ever thought that a treadmill could be biased in any way? The average treadmill, I can't see most of you, so I'm assuming you're nodding your heads or you're agreeing or disagreeing with me, right? But an average treadmill is also biased. Can really an old invention like this be biased? Yes, it is. The calculation on your treadmills are defaulted to a reference male's height, right? And I'm told most audience members here are male. And I believe there are only some 10, 15 women in your course this year. But I want to reach out to all of you, right? Irrespective of your gender, irrespective of what your belief system is, to think through all of these very carefully. And the calculation on a treadmill is defaulted to a reference male's height, right? Of course, you can adjust the settings and you know that, okay, you can, adjust your weight and things like that. But the design still fails to take into account the fact that women have a higher fat and a lower muscle distribution and different ratios of various muscle fibers, right? I mean, I thought I burned 200 calories on my treadmill today, but really, that's not really reference to an average female. As women, and the women in this group will agree, the women sitting in the audience will agree, and I so wish I could be in person with you and I could really speak my heart out in front of you. But as women, we are always used to wait in long queues for public toilets, right? Airports, cinemas, right? You name the place, highway malls. We know that there is always going to be a long queue at the female toilet, right? Where for some reason, the male toilet doesn't seem to have these issues, right? And this is an unfortunate case of what a gender blind design is, right? To be fair to the architects, they gave the same space, they allotted the same space to a male toilet and a female toilet, right? They possibly occupy the same square meters. Everyone is equal in their eyes, but that's not really the case. Unfortunately, what they have really failed to consider is, even though their hearts were in the right place, right, that women need more space and more time in the restrooms, right? Women need to change during their menstrual cycles. Most of us often have children or take care of seniors while in the bathrooms, right? Biologically also, women make more frequent trips to the bathroom because maybe pregnancy or could be infections that they could be dealing with. And therefore, allotting equal public space, right? Does that really make it all equal? No. So, and am I looking at this from a very conscious bias point of view? Did someone really say, no, all the women folk in the world should, we should be, we should not be fair and partial to them and make sure that all of them don't, are not at ease when they use the restroom? No, this is unfortunately a very unconscious bias that has just come in the design. And there are many, many, many examples like that. This is something that I'm sure you'll find interesting, right? In a recent study, participants were shown photos of male and female science faculty from some of the most elite institutes in the US, right? Now, it was found, right, that appearance, which means simply the way you look, right, because these were just photographs, had no impact on how likely that it was that a man would be judged as a scientist, right? So even if he looked very stiff upper lip, even if he looked casual, even if he had curly hair, or even if he had straight hair, even if he was white, even if he was of any other color, it did not impact the way men were perceived to be scientists or not. But when it came to women, the more stereotypically feminine they looked, right? So maybe had their hair tied or wore traditional clothing, or didn't really look the scientist part, the less likely it was that people would even think they were a scientist, right? And these were real people, contemporaries. These were not even like, pictures picked up from history. These were real contemporaries, and they were just asked whether you thought this person was a scientist or no, right? Femininity, unfortunately, is often seen as inversely associated with brilliance, right? And believe me, I'm not giving you these examples to show you a negative side of society, or to make you feel that, okay, here is a feminist talking about, and she thinks that everything in the world is bad and not meant for women. I'm only trying to sensitize you to the unconscious biases that exist, and how you, as those who will create products for tomorrow, services for tomorrow, solutions for tomorrow, should really be mindful of all of this. Is the world of entrepreneurship very different? Unfortunately, not as much. Women entrepreneurs pitching to investors often face a lot of subconscious biases, right? Oh, will you be able to commit time to your venture between motherhood and family? Right? Believe me, no man has ever got asked whether he would be able to commit time between taking care of his children and his venture. But it is more often than not that a woman is asked this, and believe me, even today. Will your family allow you to relocate? Do you worry that as a strong female CEO, you will intimidate men? And believe me, many times in our careers as women, we have heard these questions. Do these make us feel belittled? No. I think most of us as women who have decided that this is their path, that this is the path they want to walk on, and this is what they want to achieve, strengthen themselves from within to be able to answer and deal with all of these situations confidently. And which is that one thing I want you all to commit as leaders, is never deny opportunities or assume on behalf of someone. Now, all of the examples that I've mentioned to you may all have been done unintentionally. The products, the space, and the systems are designed to help people and make lives easier. But without consideration of the difference between males and females, we are doing, unfortunately, the male default, right? Which leaves out more than 50% of the population. Now, as product marketeers, strategists, designers, it would be my earnest request to you to not continue to make this mistake. And the solution is often quite simple in all of this. The solution is simply to listen to women, right? To listen to your consumer is something that you will keep hearing throughout your entire journey. We need to place them in positions of power. Women need to be placed in positions of power. We need to involve them in decision making and processes that impact their lives, right? And which is where I want to introduce you to the platform that I am working on, which is built on these critical needs of all of us as women, right? The new platform we are launching is called Coto. Koto is a Web3 based social community platform, right? Most of you know or have heard of the term Web3. It's a blockchain based platform built on the principles of decentralization and participative ownership. Now, what does the platform allow anyone to do? Any woman, any individual rather, who identifies herself as a woman can come to the platform and create her own community in a free and a safe space. And why a community? Because a community means an opportunity for you to network, an opportunity for you to form a long lasting bond, to foster sisterhood, to learn from the experiences of others, to learn from peers, and also to get expert guidance, right? Now, it is unfortunate again, but true that over 58% Indian women have reported online abuse or harassment at some point in time in their use of social media. And while, of course, we know women spend more time on social media than men, right? There are enough and more reports that will tell you that. Very often they express themselves, therefore, very differently and are more inhibited in the way they really are able to express. You know, there are no platforms, unfortunately, today that allow all of us to be ourselves. Most of you must be on LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn you always have to show what a successful professional you are, right? Or the fact that you are now achieving success. Instagram is all about having to look pretty, having to show you or have a great life. How many of us have done pictures on Instagram on a bad hair day or not in the at the best shot, right? It was always a photographer's medium that has now evolved into a social media platform. Facebook, unfortunately, and I don't think most of you are even on Facebook. Even for my age group who's on Facebook, we largely use it as a happy birthday app, right? Those you don't want to even wish on WhatsApp are the ones you end up wishing on Facebook. What happens on a platform like Twitter, unfortunately, has become very, very toxic, right? Has become so toxic that really it hasn't remained a place where you can truly be yourself. You cannot, if you can deal with the toxicity and can make sure that it is not affecting you in any way, that will still be the platform that you can really leverage. And of course, all of these platforms have brought many of us together, have created different opportunities for all of us. We wanted to go ahead and create a platform where every woman would feel safe, right? That would practically be hate free and as much as possible troll free. And I want to take a minute to show you a video and show you what we are building. This is a platform that I would request all of the young women, all the women in the audience to definitely become a part of. And all of you men, right? All of you wonderful men standing up as he for she, definitely let women know that something like this exists, which they can put to great use. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, I'm happy to take questions. So after we've seen this video, I just want to open the forum for questions. Okay, my screen is not shared yet, right?
Yes, ma'am. The screen is not visible yet.
Just is it visible now? Are you
Yes,
able
ma'am.
to see? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, then, yes, I am happy to take questions from students. I am happy to answer anything that you want to know.
Sure, ma'am. I'll ask the participants to raise their hands in the chat and I'll help you moderate with those questions. So, guys, you can raise your hands and I'll help you. Okay, Rishabh, you can go ahead with your question.
Uh, Hello, hi Aparna.
Hi.
As we saw in the video that you mentioned that there will be a facial recognition, and it's required for you to take a selfie and verify it. But I've seen many people who do not want to post their images out there, but still want to be part of the community. So how
Yes.
do you tackle that situation? Like there are two sides of the coin.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
so how do you plan to tackle that?
Um, Rishabh, and I completely agree where you're coming from. In fact, some of the principles of Web3 are based on anonymity, right? But one has to understand that there has to be, at least at one point, some good gatekeeping so that you can make sure, right, that either bots or those who mean to cause harm do not come in. So there will have to be some level of authentication. In fact, through the product journey, there are also spot checks that happen to make sure that the right sort of a user is using it. The whole idea is, if this has to be a safe space, right? I mean, say you live in a big society that has what, 20-25 towers, right? The thing that makes you feel safe when you enter, right, irrespective of what is happening outside, is great security systems. So if we do have to create a community where young girls feel that yes, this is safe. It's so unfortunate, Rishabh. You can just ask your classmates around, right? There must not have been a single girl who may not have received lewd messages on her Instagram, right? Continue to receive pornographic images. We want to stop and avoid all of that, right? And as much as possible make sure it's not done. So yes, I know it can be a deterrent, but sometimes you just have to wall garden your community.
That one more question, joining that. You mentioned that many they receive lewd messages and all. I have my friends who have been through that, and it is one situation to tackle that when it's a smaller community, and when the community grows in size. Let's say talk about Twitter. Twitter has a such a huge platform, and I think they are not able to deal with that due to anonymity issues and because of the size it has.
Absolutely.
So growing forward, how do women feel safe that this won't happen again?
Yes,
That
thank you so much, Rishabh. And I think you're speaking for all the women, and all the women I have interacted with have always asked me this question. So great for being a very, very sensitive individual. The first level of moderation on the platform is AI based. The second level of moderation is with the community creator. So basically, this is a platform where any one of us, right, whether we are an expert, whether we are a current social media influencer, or whether I just want to create my peer-to-peer community, or I want to be a part of any community, the second level of rights to moderate her community is with the community creator herself, right? So one, we are making sure that technology becomes an enabler to make sure obvious words, abusive words, or any imagery is not posted. Secondly, the moderator who runs the community has all moderation rights. if there is anything flagged off against the community creator, right? Because at the end of the day, we are all humans.
Yes,
There is a panel of moderators, which is not platform controlled. These moderators are women, pretty much like Wikipedia editors. Wikipedia is a community knowledge platform, right?
yes,
These women are ones who have volunteered to moderate the platform. So they are women, they are community members or they are creators. I hope that answers.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you
Rishabh.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishabh, for your question. Next, we have Niklang. Niklang, go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, ma'am. Yeah.
Morning.
Yes, I really like your presentation about how you said that there are female biases already present somewhere about treadmill and the architecture design. Are there any male specific biases also existing in the society or in the product development that we can be wary of?
Um, I think a common bias would be to assume that most men would have some incorrect intent behind doing something, right? I mean, today, the UN runs a campaign called as He for She, right? A He for She campaign is to make sure that there is equality and that every woman gets an opportunity, all genders get an opportunity. I think beauty creams have been a great example of how we never thought, right, that this was also an essential part for women, right? For men always had to be rugged, men always had to be tall, dark, handsome, right? Any cute looking boy, you will always call him a chocolate boy, right? Whereas a quintessential man always has to be tall, well built, a little dark, right? So I mean, that those are biases, right? And I think as humans and as individuals, right, it's unfortunate that women face more biases than men, right? But men also, I mean, I think as societies, as cultures, we are ridden with a lot of biases for each against each other, right? So you're right, Niklank. Good question, but you must find out those that are that the biases against men, and maybe find appropriate solves for that. Yes, we have a lot of questions, Siddharth.
Yes.
Ma'am, yeah, yeah, ma'am, due to paucity of time, will be able to take only one more question from Akshat. After
Sure,
that, we will go for a 5-minute break, and after that, we can move
sure,
ahead with
sure,
presentation.
sure. I'd request you to
Akshat,
definitely take Lakshmi's question also. So I'll keep my answer short, but definitely take Lakshmi's question.
okay, Lakshmi, go ahead.
No, and of course Akshat's question also. We don't want to jump the queue, but Akshat and then please Lakshmi.
Okay, Akshat, first you ask your question. After that, Lakshmi, go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a wonderful presentation. Since you've been working in the industry for a while and you're aware of everything that's been going on, how do you propose that we as batchmates be better allies to our female counterparts here?
Firstly, I would say make sure everybody gets equal opportunities. Please do not judge anybody for their gender, for their backgrounds, for what they can physically do or what they physically can't do, right? The what you would want, the way you would want to be treated, always make sure that someone else is treated right. I mean, see, there are smaller instances. I was speaking to a doctor last week who's a super specialty surgeon, right? A female doctor. And you know what was her problem? Most surgeries rooms that support super specialty operations, right, don't have washrooms that women can use. There was not a sanitary pad disposal bin in that, right? Now, who would have thought that a super specialty doctor who is at that level would have to face a problem like that, right? Was it a conscious bias or an unconscious bias, or just because somebody never really thought about it, the need never came, right? So Akshat, as somebody who is a very very responsible adult, please, right, you always give them an opportunity that you also seek. Yes. Last question
Thank
from
you.
Lakshmi. I'm so looking forward. Thank you. Is Lakshmi coming live?
Lakshmi, go ahead with your question.
I think Lakshmi, you're still on mute. Try unmuting first.
I think, ma'am, she is facing some network issue.
No issues. No issues at all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, we can take a break for 5 minutes, and after that we can go ahead with our presentation.
Yes, yes. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a kind audience.